Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. There apparently is a ongoing beef that has been in existence for years. Nicki calling her kids roaches and monkeys and so forth. Is this beef gone too far?
It's not a good look for moms.
Are we being sexist to judge them by a different standard? I don't know.
I'm going to have to call out what I'm going to term here as soft sexism that's happening around this entire conversation.
This is hip-hop. His hood was on somebody's show, and apparently he was like, yo, man, I've been married to this woman this whole time. I ain't cheated. Yeah, you did what you're supposed to do. What, you want, a cookie?
Cheating is nothing but betrayal on both sides.
If he resisted, shout out to him, and he should write a book and teach us all how to resist all of the video vixens and booty-shaking BBL girls.
I think we have to recast the opportunity that cheating can be in strengthening a relationship.
The days of how I can drop the kids off at Big Mama's for the summer, that's not happening anymore.
The people who are showing up in that way, they're just not front and center.
Send them kids to the goddamn grandfathers. Why the hell we gotta go to the grandmamas in the first place?
Sit down with your kids and think about your choices. Just have some time to sit and reflect with them. Welcome to yet another episode of the BLC Pod. Yes, and I got all my people with me. I see you, SNM. Okay, talk to them. Hey, listen, before we get into my people, pause if necessary. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and all that good stuff. And of course, we somewhat have the mushroom. Somewhat. That's right. Check out the blcstore.com. You heard me, to get your merch. You heard, you know what I mean? All that. We got womanese, we got emotional ears, all that good stuff. But back to having all of my people with me. Got to start off with the radiant SNM Jones in the building.
Alrighty then. I'm so excited to be back in the building. But no, seriously, I am excited to be here and, get my little chat on, as some folks say. It sounds like want. But it's all good because I respect that. You know who else I respect? Crystal XO. Gotta give her a shout out because guess what I got? I got her book in the mail.
Yeah, looks like a good read.
Right? And so just as, you know what I'm saying? I love this. I'm just saying that the title of the book alone, Dear Alpha Female, is not him, it's you. Okay. I see you trying to start the argument from the book cover from the jump. I support that. I love it. But you know who else I love? Last week, y'all guys was talking about how somebody, Rihanna, didn't have it all, but now she do because guess what? She got the ring. Doody-doody-doo. Point.
How was that on point when, just like last week, I was also saying, well, maybe she don't need the ring. Maybe,
I'm saying per y'all standards, y'all said she needed the ring.
Now, all of a sudden, she gets the ring. Oh, my God, she got the ring.
I'm going to you guys. You guys set the standard that she needed to have a ring in order to have it all. Well, now she has the ring. So now by you guys' standard, she now has it all. By our standards, she already had it all. But she got the icing on the cake, according to you guys, which make it now, honestly, she has it all.
And this is a perfect example of womanese because getting engaged is not the same thing as being married. So she doesn't yet have it all.
Okay, sure.
She may very well be on the way, but come on, man.
Nah, like I said, by y'all standards. Just like when we talked about
emotional ears, 15 yards, ball going the other way.
Whatever. I understand y'all just hate to give a woman props. It's cool. I get it.
This is the dark side of womanese right here. She just can't be accountable and be wrong. But that's okay.
I get it.
Listen,
because I'm not wrong. Because per our standards, she has everything already in place. Per y'all standard, you said she needed a ring. You ain't said she had to be married. You said she needed a ring. She got the ring. And it's on the finger that y'all said she needed to have. So I'm just saying. Okay, so moving on.
With that head of jaw last time. Can we move on to somebody else I've had with me for decades? I've known this brother since we were standing in line at the BSU barbecue, okay? Yes. As freshmen, speaking about having my people with me. Just Jay, man, what's happening?
Man, it's good to be here as always. You know what I mean? Always good to be amongst the people and to be here with y'all. Man, I gotta tell you, I'm glad I made this team. I have mixed feelings about whether or not I wanted to be on the championship bull team. I thought I did for a while, but the way Larsa Pippen is running through their bench, I mean, they're the sons of the players. I mean, what is she on, like our second or third one now? She's I hear rumors. I don't know if it's true or not. I hear rumors that she's like supposedly seen now after being with Michael Jordan's son. Now she's with Dennis Rodman's son. You know what I mean? So she's gonna get those rings one way or another, brother. I guess that's wild though.
You know what? I feel like some NBA team should probably like hire her in the recruiting department. I don't know why that would make sense in my head for some reason. Maybe she just has a nose for talent, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if it's her nose.
Like, right? I mean, I appreciate her pouring into black men the way that she is sometimes.
Yes,
I guess, kind of, sort of, in a weird way.
Yeah.
Anyway,
or allow them to pour in. However it works. You know what I mean? That's her business.
Her body, her choice.
Her choice.
Devin, what's happening, man?
Man, what is going on? Glad to be back for another week with my people. Clearly, I am not the radiant one on the BLC Pod this week, but that's okay. SNM, you can hold that title. It's all good. But I am back and having a better week than our man Diddy. Hopefully, he's everything works out for him. Maybe he's going up for trial. He tried to get some things thrown out, maybe lighten his sentence, but it's not looking good for the diddler. So maybe next week we can talk about that and see what the shakeout was and how much time he's got and whether or not anybody's going to put any money on his books. So, we'll yet to be see what happened with the diddler. But moving on.
Man, there's so many different things I want to touch on. I'll try to be quick. Hey, Dank DeMoss won her case in terms of Lyft, or at least she settled. Her fat ass was able to squeeze more money out of them. And she said, you know what, with that money, I'm going to go ahead and buy me a bus, but not still lose weight. Shout out to her for winning her case. Secondly, Aisha Howard, in the pot calling the kettle black news, Aisha Howard sues Anthony Edwards for fraud. Bitch, please. Or maybe that should be a bitch, please news. Talking about the pot calling the kettle black. Fraud, man. Like, did you... anyways, moving right along. And lastly, in a more somber but real tone, I realize, like, your faith and perspective will, like, fuck you up. Or it'll open up doors. Some of y'all quit too quickly. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all give up hope too quickly. Like, if you press forward, maybe that opportunity is right on the other side. So, with a positive word, not for Aisha Howard, you know what I'm saying, or Dake DeVos, but for all you guys out there, like, who want to work hard and earn your way the right way, right? The right way, right? Just remember, having some faith and the proper perspective can certainly push you past doors and having a negative attitude and like, I'm going to get over however way that I can, even if it's between my legs or because I just... Anyways, the point is, y'all, proper faith and perspective goes a long way. Look at me tying all that in very quickly. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to them. Anyways, what we talking about, man? Because I am in a great mood today. You heard me. What we talking about? I mean, apparently we're not ready to talk.
No,
you know what I'm saying? I'll tell you who has been talking a lot. Oh, my bad. Sorry. Go ahead.
So what I was saying was that it's actually pretty entertaining because we're talking about entertainers between Stank DeMoss as well as Aisha, then who they are, i.e. for entertainment purposes only. So Cardi B and Nicki Minaj, there apparently is a ongoing beef that has been in existence for years. However, it has recently heated up with Cardi B and Nicki calling her kids roaches and monkeys and so forth, although she claims it's because Cardi B did it first. And go on to talk about how her albums are tanking, her sales aren't that great. And it's just a whole bunch of stuff between them to the point where Cardi B tried to resolve it by saying, hey, you need to go get some healing, go ahead and get some counseling because that cocaine use... Okay, so maybe she wasn't quite doing that healing. So my question to you guys, has this gone far enough? Is this beef gone too far? And when is enough enough? Because now they slinging shots at the kids and everything. So what do y'all guys think about this?
So at first, I'll be honest, I was listening with my emotional ears. And I was like, oh my God, no, don't involve the kids. How could you? Then I thought about, rap battles, right? People talk about what they're going to do to the kids and what they're going to do to the grandmas and the dogs and all that. Matter of fact, rap even in mainstream, right? I'm not going to name rappers, but you can think of rappers if you know their lyrics, have talked about what they, kids missing, whatever. And so I asked myself, if there's a too far, have we already passed it already? Or is it the issue that they're women, are, you know what I'm saying, are moms? So then I started thinking of like, yeah, as far as these are women, the motherly, where's the motherly sense? Where's the universal motherly mother bear cub protection thing that all moms are supposed to have? The reason they have such weight in the court system when it comes to custody and paying. Anyway, I digress. But guys, you see what I'm saying there. So anyway, in the grander scheme of things, as we look at it, are we being sexist to judge them by a different standard? I don't know. I will say this though. I'll say I think Cardi initially raised some questions about who Nicki was hanging around and that person's predilections around children. I think that's where it came up. You know what I'm saying? Because I would always say check the tape. So if that's the thing, then that's not really taking shots to the kids. But I would say, ladies, you should conduct yourselves better. It's childish. You know what I'm saying? At this point, we're going to need one of your kids to get on a microphone and do a mixtape or something where they tell the parents to calm down. And that's embarrassing. So please, folks, get it together.
Yeah, it's not a good look for moms. Moms are definitely going to have to take an L on this one. I mean, I'm glad my mom is not out there beefing or my wife or anybody like that. You know, it's turning into that whole thing we talk about with becoming the niggas you always wanted to be with. You're him. I mean, this guy's beefing on records and Twitter and social media. That's guy stuff and not a kid to caught in the crossfire. It's just a very big back, manly, high cholesterol thing to do. And it's not a good look for moms, but hopefully mom can get it together.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to have to call out what I'm going to term here as soft sexism that's happening around this entire conversation. Last year, we watched the biggest rap battle in decades get down to the type of mudslinging where Drake accused Kendrick Lamar and said, hey, not only are you a wife beater or a girlfriend beater because you're not even technically married, that's what Drake said, right? He also went on to say, hey, one of your kids aren't really even your kids. Right. And then Drake said, hey, the reason I did that was because you were talking about my son and my parenting and my situation. So, the fact that this is even an issue, first of all, right. So if they did that last year, right. And then this year, there's girls doing it. Right. And for some reason, it sounds very similar. Right. They were talking about kids, I guess, somewhat. Right. But they're women. We would expect that. So now that they're being women and maybe taking it a step further, because I think Kendrick did warn Drake not to take it further. But anyways, apparently they didn't hear this warning. And so now the girls are taking it further. And here we go. Oh my God. For the sake of mothers, do we talk about them being fathers and how they're out here, behaving? No, we don't do that. So it's like, it was funny because I was watching this other podcast. You know what? Now it's getting too much. Now I don't want to. This nigga called him a pedophile. Or his crew, a pedophile. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking about? Like, what? Infertility issues? Like, that's a real thing. Women really. So, like, what are we talking about here? Right? And so now it's like, oh my God, these women, they're like, man, fuck that. This is rap. You know what I'm saying? This is fucking hip hop. You dig what I'm saying? Where the fuck was their rules? Jay-Z said he had sex with Nas's baby moms and then threw a condom on the baby seat. You know what I'm saying? Like, hell. Right? You know what I mean? Like, but the fact that he had sex with that's, what I mean? So what I'm saying, that was real. Like, he actually did it. So what the fuck are y'all talking about here? You know what I'm saying? This soft sexism that I'm hearing out here is wrong. So you know what? I'm going to correct this shit right now. Hey, beef, man. Beef on. You know what I'm saying? 50 don't even talk to Ja Rule and them still. You dig what I'm saying? They're allowed to beef. They got animosity or whatever the fuck. Give me some good fucking music. Talk what the fuck you want to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Go hard. Go low. You know what I'm saying? Fuck Michelle Obama. Okay? What the fuck are y'all talking about? And on top of that, these are the two perfect women to do it. You know what I'm saying? Cardi is brash. She's outspoken. She wears her shit on her sleeve. Nicki is Nicki. This is like the fucking Ali and Frazier or some shit. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck are y'all talking about? Oh, them guys shouldn't fight. You know what I'm saying? There's other ways to resolve. Man, shut the fuck up. You know? Go Brooklyn. You know? And you got the little barrel thing, or you got Queen. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? As long as they keep it rap, I'm with that shit. I am going to be equality or equity, whatever fucking word you want to use here, okay? If I enjoy Drake and Kendrick, I hope to enjoy a very good Nicki and Cardi beef. The end.
All right. So first of all, I'm going to co-sign on all of that because the first thing I thought was men beef all the time. We don't say shit. It's not considered too emotional, although I think Drake shed a tear a little bit when he was called a pedo, you know what. And so, but I was like, men beef all the time and nobody sweats it. But because it's women, all of a sudden it's like, oh, she's a mother. Oh, she should care because she's a mother. Where's her nurturing instincts? Where her business instincts? This is beefing and rapping is a time treasured activity. It is something that has always occurred, as I said, time treasured. And as a matter of fact, it has been proven to beef up sales. And so this was a business beef, even if Nicki's trying to make it a personal beef, because she came after a lot of other people after that. The point is, I understand why the rap game, especially with women, there's always pressure that there's going to be one queen bee, right? Only one queen in rap. So that automatically make the stage or set the stage for women to beef. Like back in the day, it was like Foxy Brown and Little Kim. You know what I'm saying? But no one called it, oh, they're motherly. But you know what though? They didn't have no kids either. So maybe that's also what changed. But either way it goes, let's celebrate this artistry. Because I think it's art. Beefing is art. And the way these two beef, they petty as hell. I'm talking about they go straight for the jugular. I'm talking about if they saw each other on the streets, I would expect hands immediately. Now, that might be taking it too far then when they put hands on each other. But until they put hands on each other, beef on. I like it. I'm for it. And go ahead with your nice, nasty ass way Cardi B got. And whoop, whoop, I'm with it. That's all I'm going to say. Let the beef reflect industry, point blank, period.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it goes too far if somebody gets hurt, and it could go there. So we don't wish that, right? But all this boo-hoo crying about them talking shit over the internet, I mean, come on, dog. We're in 2025. It's the internet. Stop playing. Now, you know who needs to also stop playing? I don't know. Is it Devin Haney or his ex that he's suing, right? I guess it's Lena Saeed or whatever. So Devin Haney is suing his ex, I believe, for like $350K for gifts that he said, hey, listen, man, I bought it for her with the intent of marriage. And once the intent of marriage dissolved, I deserve these gifts back, right? In part because, come to find out with those jail leak calls from Young Thug, he found out that Shorty was fucking with Young Thug, right? Like, damn, like publicly, right? Which, that's a big no-no, right? So anyway, so now he's heartbroken or whatever, the relationship is over. Is he foul for saying, hey, man, I bought you these things with the intent of making you my wife. Now that it clearly you weren't operating this way, give me my shit back. You know what I'm saying? Is he an Indian giver? Is it sour grapes? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it's just the operational loss. I mean, in most cases, you can't even, go back for gifts. I mean, if you try to go to court, unless something's changed, it may be different where they live. If it's a gift, the judge is just going to say, "Hey, it was a gift, man. You know that you're just going to have to eat that." So I get it. It was a lot of money. Probably shouldn't have led with that. Probably should have saved the $300K for after the wedding. But that's me. I'm cheap like that. But I think he's just gonna have to eat it, man. I mean, it's kind of giving sour grapes. I would be mad too. No matter how much money you got, $300K is $300K. It's a lot. It's a lot of bread, and I would want it back too. You got to ask. She may feel bad for him and say, you know what, man, I did you dirty. Here's your stuff back. He may luck out. Women usually tend to not do that. Mild sexism there, but you gotta ask. But that's my. I think he's gonna have to eat it.
He might have to eat it.
No pause.
Yeah, big pause.
I was like, it's a woman, so.
Yeah,
but remember, we are trying to expand the use of the word, right? So it's not just in the reference, right? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah. So
that's what the fun is. We got to expand it.
So he may have to. I know you think he should have to suffer this. I don't think he should have to suffer it. I think that he has recourse. I think that he has a reason to try to be made whole. I think because I think about the times when women, on one hand, I hear people on our own beloved pod saying things about like double standard. And then sometimes I hear those people say things like soft sexism. So I don't know. You can call it what you want to call it. But I do think that I've seen women try to sue men for like the money they put into the wedding arrangements, right? The money that was down, they paid it on the wedding planners, they paid on caterers or whatever. And when they found out the dude was doing something and that the wedding couldn't go forward, they wanted to be, they wanted to have their funds recuperated, right? They wanted to have their investment returned. So I don't know what their arrangement was between Devin Haney and this young lady, but I suspect that it included some level of discretion right? That did not allow him to look like he was sipping out here for the world to see on the internet, right? And so now, here's my thing. It's not so much that she was, I mean, it is, yes, that she was with Young Thug, but that's whatever, neither here nor there. It's that she was on the phone with this ninja while he was in jail. That means, dude, she took your money, she took this guy's money, and she used it to collect calls from another dude.
Diabolical.
Besides giving him the poo. That's just ridiculous. That is utterly disrespectful. Yes, that's not right. That's why he wants his money back, and he's right. Because he didn't invest in that. He didn't pay for that. He don't want it, and he wants to give that back and take back what he gave her. It was an uneven exchange. It was a breach of contract, unless they was cool like that. But she needs some receipts to say that, because right now, apparently, all the vibes he's giving is it was not okay. And I'm agreeing with you, bro. It's not okay. Go ahead. SNM.
So it's actually interesting that you talk about the wedding planner and the wedding venue and all that good stuff, because the key words was wedding and planned. In this case, we don't even know if she was truly his ex-fiance, his fiance, or if the wedding was in the works. And here's why I'm saying this, because he didn't say, I need my wedding or my engagement ring back. I could see him getting the engagement ring back, because that actually is a breach of contract. That is, and your intentions was to wed. And so therefore, since I did not wed you, give me my ring back. I support that. But the other stuff were just gifts. And if it was an investment towards marriage, right, and towards that, then did he explicitly state this? Did he indicate that I'm giving this to you because you're an investment strategy for me and I'm investing in our relationship? Or did he give it because he loved and liked her and whatnot and wanted to make her happy? So there's a difference between gift giving and then intention gift giving, i.e. this is for this purposes, which is, like I said, with the engagement ring. For that purpose, yes, he should get that shit back if it's an engagement ring. Everything else, he got to eat that shit. That's the cost to be in that relationship with her. He knew what type of woman she was probably, and he still stayed in that relationship. Now, she was dead ass wrong for, let me try not to curse as much. I did a lot of cursing in the last episode. But anyway, she was dead ass wrong for playing in his face, stepping them collect calls, especially from somebody in jail. Like, you getting prison. Okay, let me not go there either. Let me be nice. So anyways, with that being said, his feelings was basically hurt because she was playing in his face. So he said, well, you know what? I'm going to sue this bitch because my feelings hurt. And this nigga in jail, and she's still calling him, and he's collecting calls and all that good stuff. So nah, I think that he got to eat this. It's the cost that he paid for this relationship. And if the gifts were an investment strategy, then he need to stop calling them gifts. He need to be like, hey, this is an investment strategy. I'm investing in our relationship. Be clear in your intentions, sir, because you can't buy love and then sue when it don't go your way. My personal opinion, though, go ahead and give that shit back. Don't let this nigga be crying like this, because you hurt his feelings and you was dead ass wrong for that shit.
SNM, you was right. First of all, I'm like, damn, now I know how you felt the last segment, because I went first. He's like, this nigga took all the good shit, but I got to find a way. And then you go just repaying me back until the very end when you said you can't buy love and then try to sue on the... Yes, you can. You know what I'm saying? If I purchase a service and there's contractual reasons for me to take that motherfucker to court, then yeah, I can sue, right? Now, and I think that's the court of love that he's coming from, right? What he is saying is that you defrauded me. Right? When I was operating by buying you these things, I was operating with you as my fiance. And because of that, that opened you up to a whole different level. We talked about it last week about Michael Porter Jr., where he was just paying the rent. This guy said, hey, I'm finna open up my whole situation to you, because at the point of saying I do or I will or yes, there's an expectation at that point, right? Now we are trying to merge our lives together, right? So if that means that, hey, I did things for you like furniture, for example, or, put you in positions. Now, listen, I'm not going through all the list of the things that he listed in this 350,000, but if he can credibly say, hey, these are the things that I bought, with the expectation that this woman was going to be my wife, and, cool, right? And there may possibly be a case there, but SNM is absolutely right? Like, it's no different than when the chick from like several seasons back, she's like, oh my God, I gave this guy my best years, and I think, okay, can you put a dollar value on it for real? Like, but that wasn't the point. But the point is that I agree with SNM on this one. Unfortunately, he's going to have to, eat it, pause if necessary. But again, it would depend on if he can make a plausible case that, hey, that's what it is. So I'm giving him a little bit of hope. But I want to also go to something that Jay said. It was Young Thug, right? And we act like who you cheat with doesn't matter. It does. It does matter. Who you cheat with does matter, right? Like, sometimes you can look at the motherfucker and be like, yep, you know what? You know what I'm saying? Like, whether it's because of guilt or whatever. Or you can look at a motherfucker and be like, for real? And just completely fuck you up because that's not the person that you thought she was. And at the crux of this, I think that's what he's really suing. It's almost like the other story I talked about for fraud. He's really suing her for fraud, for real, right? And I don't know if he could really say it like that, right? But that's really what he should be suing her for, right? Because I think he probably has a better case there. You know what I'm saying? Because Your Honor, she misrepresented herself while she's on the phone with this nigga. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm with you, SNL. But yeah, man, stay strong. And Devin Haney, by the way, has a history of suing people. He sued Ryan Garcia, I think, right? So apparently he's comfortable in that court. You know what I mean? Hopefully he gets the situation squared away and makes better choices with women that he chooses to be with. I don't know how you missed this one, but hey, man, to each his own. Thoughts and prayers.
Not thoughts and prayers. That is crazy. But you know what? It does lead to our next topic on the Dear Future Wifey podcast. Pastor John Gray, pastor, I said pastor. Anyways, Pastor John Gray opened up about his marriage to include the fact that he apologized again for what he considered cheating. And interesting enough, cheating was sexting multiple women and having an emotional affair with one. And this actually begged the question, what exactly is cheating, and how can we hold somebody accountable for cheating in this way? So basically, I'm asking, is emotional or sexual betrayal equally condemnable, or are they weighted differently? Like, what's up with this? Because when he said sexting, initially when I saw he apologized for cheating, I was all like, oh my God, he cheated and he's a pastor. I was ready to jump all down his throat. But then I saw it was for sexting and having an emotional affair, and that made me pause. So what are you guys' thoughts?
Can I answer a question real quick about him? Is he the one that was a virgin again? Like he was
my God, yes.
So he was a virgin before he got married?
That's correct.
Okay. I just want to put that in context real quickly before I go, right? Because I think it's relative. If you know what I'm saying? I think it's really relative, right? Because if he ain't never had no pussy before, and he most likely wasn't sexing and doing all that, and then all of a sudden he's married and shit, and he's doing that like a lot. Yeah, to him, that's cheating. Like, you know what I'm saying? 1,000%, right? Because his bar was so like, you know what I mean? That like, it's considered, it's relative is what I'm saying. Like a nigga like me, fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? He'd be like a speeding ticket. You know? He'd be like, woo, that's all he did. Right? And so these are all jokes. Watch the top of the show. The point is, I mean, you can just come on, right? Like, like, woo, that's all. Just be reasonable here, logical for even. But the point is, right? That come on, man. Yeah, for him, 1,000%. And he was doing it a lot, like, or whatever. Like, bro, like, come on, man. Either shit or get off the fucking pot. Like, first of all, like, to more seasoned people, pish tosh, get the fuck out of here. Like, why are you wasting our time with this melon fucking story about, like, you're embarrassing her more than it's worth. For real. At least you should have stuck your dick in somebody to be out here, putting it out here. So now your wife got to be meta cheated on. Now she's meta embarrassed because you keep on wanting to tell this fucking story for 140 fucking characters. Come on, man. What the fuck? Like, I mean, like, I get it, in his relationship, this was cheating. But to the rest of us, it's get the fuck out of here, is what I'm saying, right? Especially when you weigh it against the public embarrassment for a meta cheat. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, come on, man. Maybe that's something he's used to doing. You know what I mean? He's moving like a nigga who ain't never get no pussy for real. Like, you know what I mean? Because he can't even deal with the pussy he's currently getting, like properly. Like, even if you're going to cheat, right? Come on, man. There's a proper way, Pastor. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't have sought counsel from the Lord about how to, like, I mean, come on. You couldn't just talk to him about this? No, you got to talk to somebody on a podcast. So in conclusion, Okay. All right. Because his standard is not our standard. Okay. It's apparently not even the Lord's standard. You know what I'm saying? Like, this, I don't know, buddy, but why the fuck are we even talking about here for real, for real? Except for the fact that really, you know what I'm saying? Him sexting, yes, for him, it's cheating. And for some of y'all niggas who ain't getting no pussy for real, yeah, that's cheating for y'all too. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. You know what I mean? I mean, you like low key, some of y'all can't even think about other pussy and it not be cheating in your mind. You know what I'm saying? That's how low the bar is. And that's okay. You know what I'm saying? But and that's okay, okay? Because it's about being real with yourself. You know what I'm saying? If it's cheating to you, it's probably cheating to somebody out there. Just don't embarrass them publicly over some bullshit. That's all I'm saying. Thank you, Heather.
I think it was said best when somebody said pasta John Gray. The man's been cooked. He's been overcooked. He's been recooked and cooked again for this same thing. And I think it's a lot. I think honestly, I think that what we're looking at is a story that has bubbled up over time. Okay. I think his wife found out that he's been with the same woman all this time. Okay. He's not blind. Clearly he can find the internet. He can find TikTok and Instagram. He can find thirst traps. The man sees what's out there. He's listening to the discourse on dating and on marriage and on how men should be treated. He might have been stepping into the manosphere. And he's looking around and he says, man, I'm feeling like I'm missing something. And so he starts talking and engaging people. The internet's big. He bumps into somebody on the web. Maybe they slide into his DMs. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Maybe they ask for a consult, a prayer, a counseling. Who knows? But he meets these people and they develop an attraction. They have an affinity for each other. But he doesn't meet them in person. He meets them online. Yeah, they have a need. He's a pastor. He shoots them some bread, right? He's ministering. Yeah, he's a little attached, probably overly attached, right? But he's coming from a place of dearth. He's coming from a place of lack. Okay, there's something missing in his relationship right there. Maybe it's communication, maybe it's other things, but yeah, he needs some emotional support and he found it somewhere else. That's the story. The man didn't cheat. I know they say all is fair in love and war, but y'all got to quit moving the goalposts, man, or nobody will win. Cut it out, people. Cut it out. I've seen marriages break up because the woman found out the guy was in somebody's DMs. Lady, please. Please. Ain't nobody making babies from DMs. Ain't nobody sharing tax returns in DMs. Ain't nobody got to share their social security check when somebody passed away from nobody being in their DMs. Slow your roll, people. Get out your feelings. Are your ears more than your ears are emotional? No, the man did not cheat. Okay? And it's emotional cheating. If emotional cheating is a thing, then all cheating is cheating. And fine, all cheating is cheating. I'm setting it up for my homeboy. Go on, Devin, to explain what happens if all cheating is cheating.
You know, of course, thank you for the setup. You know, if meta buns are the same thing as real buns, you may as well just go for the real thing, especially if you're going to be on the Dear Wifey podcast confessing your sins. Because if I'm on the Dear Wifey podcast confessing my sins, it's for some egregious shit. Okay, it really happened. If you're gonna go and do the public humiliation, the public walk of shame, go all in. And the other problem I got with this too is if you've got time to hold 8 or 10 meta chats, maybe they're overtime. I don't remember if they were running concurrently. You are not busy enough, man. You've got 8 meta relationships going. Hopefully he was getting some fire nudes and videos in these meta chats. I don't know. But if that's what you want to do, man, just then stand on it. Listen, I'm on the Dear Wifey podcast. I got a problem with meta buns. I love them. I gotta have it, and I ain't gonna stop. Own your shit. See, that would have been good. That would have been a scoop. That would have been something we could have talked about. But he didn't do it. He didn't stay on the square.
Okay, so first of all, I love the concept of meta bonds. That is hilarious. But I don't know. I'm feeling like there's a little hypocrisy here because when women have emotional affairs, men damn near die on the cross. Oh, she cheated on me. She was having an emotional affair. But y'all saying emotional affairs ain't shit, right? Because y'all say emotional affairs eventually lead to physical affairs. And so I think that's why he ended up confessing. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have to co-sign with Nick on this as well, which is shocking on this particular episode. I'm not used to this because it is cheating for him. because he was a virgin. And cheating is whatever you define cheating is for yourself. And so since he identified the fact that he was sexting all these women and he identified the fact that he had an actual emotional affair with one, then he was cheating. That was the standard that he set for himself. I personally think that standard should exist for everyone. But as you know, everyone can't fall by the same standard because you need to set your own standard. And if you're with someone, whatever standard they set for that cheating, some folks considering, and now some things can be outrageous, like sliding to my DMs, that's not cheating, right? Especially if they don't respond back, or even if they do respond back, but just because somebody got a DM chat from some random stranger don't equal cheating. There's no relationship that has been established. Like, what the hell is that? So sometimes there are things that we compensate for when we talk about cheating, right? We overdo it. We say, oh, that's cheating, that's cheating. Someone say, you talk to this dude or you talk to this female, that's cheating. When in reality, they could have just been having a high and by conversation or just being polite. So I do agree that we actually need to be more conscientious in regards to what we consider cheating. Now, what I will also say is, damn, bro, like you straight up humiliate this woman once again. I was like, you already, when I read the full story and listened to the Wifey podcast, I was like, this happened several years ago. And while the sexting was apparently repeat performance, right, until you got it together, it was like, you already apologized to her before. Why are you apologizing again publicly? Like, are you castrating yourself and putting yourself out for the world to see so you get this public flogging? Is it because you're still doing it and therefore this makes sure you don't do it? Is this another way of holding yourself accountable? I was just like, man, because when she started off on the podcast, she was sitting far away from him until he started talking about, when I'm thirsty, I drink from my wife and only my wife. And then she slid a little closer. So I was like, see, she forgave you. Look at her sliding closer when you talking about you drink only for her. Kudos for you, sir. But with that being said, I was like, I think that for him and many others, especially if you're in the religious arena, aka Christians or any other religion, if your spirituality dictates something is cheating, then it's cheating. You know, emotional, spiritual betrayal is just as bad as physical betrayal, depending on who you with and what sect you're with. So I say, yeah, he was cheating. Now, as far as the broader conversation, I think it's up to everyone to define what cheating is.
Does it go to the issue that all marriages are just not the same? You know what I mean? Every marriage, like every couple, is individual. You know, you should shape it how you want to shape it. And I asked that because, you know, the web's been talking.
You better go keep it moving.
Yeah, did I mistime it?
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Oh, okay.
There's more to still talk about. I still want to talk about the subject. You was ready to move. I see you.
Yeah.
Ready to move on to the next one. Sorry, my brother.
Yeah, go ahead. Carry on.
That's okay. Because there's a lot still here. Okay, couple of things. Number one, as you were talking to S&M about how this happened several years ago and him bringing it back up, it reminded me of content. Sometimes you got to regurgitate old content, repackage it, repurpose to stay relevant, right? You know what I'm saying? So I see him maybe repackaging this. And if that's the case, shame on you, sir, because you're also repackaging like, hey, your wife part of this too, right? If that's why you're doing it, no judgment from me, but from the Lord. So let me say that. That's number one. Number two, I think the reason why a lot of people probably call everything cheating is because they don't want to deal with the real conversation about intent. Like, in other words, okay, you caught your partner clearly intending or at least conversing, even if they're kind of meta doing it, they're still engaging in a way that you don't appreciate, right? Like they're connecting with someone else, even if it's not physical. And I think the other partner may be like, ooh, I don't like that, right? And rather than having that conversation, to kind of figure out, okay, well, why is this happening? You know what I mean? Is there some level of disconnect? Am I accountable in some way, shape, or form? It's easier to say, oh, no, that's cheating. The other person's a bad person. I get to be on my high horse and not really have to deal with what's happening in real time. And even in this particular case, if he's just saying, hey, listen, this is my story, maybe they've done the work behind the scenes. And I guess a more interesting conversation would have been for me, and I didn't see it, admittedly, all of it, but what was the motivation there? Right? Like, and on top of that, is there something wrong with that motivation? You know what I'm saying? And also, furthermore, sometimes people marry people for different reasons. And I guess we think that sex has to be at the heart of it, but sometimes people marry for other reasons other than sex, right? And maybe their partner does not fulfill them in that way. They can still fulfill the religious and the dutiful needs as a partner, but like, hey, I mean, I didn't marry you for that, for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? We've heard of pastors talking about not being attracted to their wives, and I guess it's like, oh my God. But like, is that the way that we should be partnering anyway, off of just attraction? So if somebody says, hey, this person meets, 8 out of the 10, and maybe the 2 they don't meet is that they ain't the sexiest thing out here, and maybe our sex ain't popping, but shit, they'll make her be a good mom, be a good first lady, you know what I'm saying, be dutiful about her job, she ain't going nowhere, I mean, look at her, like all those things give that pastor comfort in doing his job. And who are we or anybody else to have an issue with that? And then that would further the conversation in terms of, well, you know what, if she's the wife and she clearly is here for this, right? She's accepted that, hey, I ain't the looker that my husband needs or deserves. So yeah, I'm going to look the other way so that he at least gets what he deserves on that end. But at the end of the day, he ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? We've built this, and I'm cool with not fucking him all the time because I barely like dick anyway. Like, what's wrong with that potential reality for a couple? So I'm not saying that's their reality. I'm simply saying there's so many different conversations in this that I think if we're talking about attraction or what causes someone to want to seek other attention, maybe she's not giving him the attention that he feels like he deserves. Right? He gets a podcast popping. All of a sudden, he's getting hollered at from the outside in a way that his wife is not showing him on the inside. Does she appreciate the man that he's become? You know what I'm saying? Did she upgrade with him and give him the kudos for the hard work that he's done to become whoever the fuck he is? Right? So a lot of times that's part of it too, when you talk about ego. So I think those are the undercurrents of this. John, whatever his name, Pastor, whatever his name is, not so much, but I think using him to talk about these deeper issues. I mean, listen, just go out there and cheat, bro. You know what I'm saying? And then come back and we're all ears. You know what I'm saying? Tell us about that other experience and we're here for that. But this retread, we're good. Go ahead, Jay.
No, I hear you. It's like, don't tell me about the time you almost caught a fish. You know what I mean? Like, dude.
That's a fact.
Y'all crazy as hell.
I'm just saying. But look, I'm still going. I'm going to chalk it up to relationships being different. Maybe he and his wife, when they got together, she was like, "Look, you better not look at no other woman. Don't ever look at another woman again." If that was the standard, then yes, he violated, and he should have negotiated better. Speaking of negotiations, when it comes to money. Right, there's the internet's talking, and there's been apparently some negotiation. Apparently, the 50-50 conversation has reached a new fever pitch, right? Because now married couples, it's more common. Let's say it's less common to see joint bank accounts. Now, I do means I do. Yes, we both do, but we don't do from the same money. What do you guys think about that? I mean, our cultural attitude shifting? Is responsibility shifting? Does this change the argument on providership? I mean, there's so many questions there. I'm sure I missed some. What do you guys think?
So I think personally that women keeping the money separate is a good thing for them. I think that there should be a joint account and then that there should be separate accounts for each individual person in the marriage. Because in particular, so as a woman, I feel like actually protects them from financial abuse and dependency. And from the men's side, it may protect them from feeling like they're being used. And so if there, for someone that whatever reason with this conversation was 50-50 is that they walk away, the woman used them in divorce and so forth, and they take 50% of whatever. Well, maybe this is an opportunity where you as men, not you guys, but men in general, don't have to feel like that pressure of all their shit going to be taken from them or 50% of that shit was going to be taken away from them because they have a separate bank account and therefore they have separate activities that they can pay attention to within their separate bank account. For women, like I said, it's all about like avoiding financial abuse and having some independency within the relationship itself while maintaining the joint account. I don't think it's too big of a big deal to have a separate account. Now, if everything's separate, now that is a problem because then it becomes like there may be multiple conversations in regards to finances because finances is the top 3 reasons for divorce, maybe top 5 now. But regardless, I think it's all good. I think that this whole generational, like the past generational wife where she couldn't have the finances and so forth, them days are done. I'll be honest. My mother told me that I should have a separate account. My grandmother told me make sure I have a separate account. I did not listen. I had all joint accounts. And so, so it's almost like I'm about to be contrary. But later on, I did get a separate account. But anyways, the point is the mothers are telling the kids to get their separate accounts, right? They're telling the women that you need your financial independence. They're telling the women that you need this separate account. And now we're actually seeing that trend. And because everybody act like the relationships are now transactional, that's what's happening. This is the manifestation of something that we saw starting in the early 90s of separate accounts, separate relationships.
This is what we get by letting a woman go first on this topic. Sorry, SNL.
Whatever.
She's the only one.
Because I felt like you were kind of straddling a lot of fences there, because the story, if I recollect right, that couples are keeping their shit separate. It's not about whether you should have a separate account. I think the first part of that made a lot of sense. You're right. There's different ways to structure it so that a person can have some privacy or some independence, right? If we're talking about a record number of couples who are moving separately financially, it goes at the face of this idea of using marriage to build generational wealth. And let me tell you the number one reason. Y'all motherfuckers can't be good with money by yourselves. And I'm talking about people in general, not just men or women. I'm talking about both. Like, you need each other. You know, like even right now, from just math, equation wise, and I just don't trust that people are going to be disciplined individually to plan separately to like make it come together towards the end. It just sounds like you're planning for failure, in my humble opinion. This is not about the romanticism of it all. I'm just talking about strictly from just math, right? Expecting two people to move separately. Now, if you're talking about, hey, I got my holdings over here, you got your holdings over here, and we come to the table and we discuss it, and for whatever reason, we want to feel better about keeping them separate, fine. But we're not talking about that most likely. It's more like, hey, here's the bill, so I'm going to do my part. Here's your part. You put it in. I'm going to keep it over here. I'm going to keep it over here. Cool. Right? Are y'all planning together that way? I'd be willing to bet 99% of people who are moving like that are not planning well that way. Because you know why? Being married means ebbs and flows. So sometimes you'll have some ebbs, other person might have a flow. So like if y'all moving like that, I get it if y'all are financially capable, but your credit scores tell me otherwise, right? Like we're in the So theoretically in some mystical place, I get it. But in practice, no. You know what I've seen? I've seen the partner who makes the more money live a different lifestyle sometimes than the other partner. I've seen the other partner feel some type of way about that because it's like, well, damn, are we in this together or no? Right? I've seen the inequities, right? So listen, if it works, who am I to judge? I'm just saying we can't be here talking about generational wealth, which part of the whole thing, and I get it that as Black people, this probably affects us even more because we're not communal anyway. If this was like the other communities who are really good with money and, you know, whatever, okay, because they have a community element there, you know what I mean? They look out for each other, they got susus and shit, you know, shit like that. If it was that, okay, but it's not that. There's no hood. There's no community. We don't even got a community bank. You know what I'm saying? And y'all want to take the community out of marriage too and think that's a good thing. You know what I'm saying? I get the trauma of the past, but how many of y'all have been financially abused? And if you were, are you now the financial abuser? Because I've seen that too. Because some of y'all, the reason why some of y'all want this is because y'all are the ones making more money. It's not fun when the rabbit has the gun, right? So I get it, you know what I mean? But long term, you gonna be good, but not y'all, right? He gonna have to fend for himself. Or whatever. I don't understand where in the world any of this makes just financial sense. Unless y'all are disciplined enough, transparent enough, consistent enough, honest enough, right, to do the shit. And I just don't see that happening for real, which is why this whole thing is calamitous. It just kind of further shows that we are quickly on the way to hell in a handbasket. Is that the phrase we were looking for a couple episodes? Right? Because marriage is doomed if you think this is something that should be done amongst everyone. Because y'all niggas don't have enough money to be keeping y'all shit separately. I'm talking about the masses. And then for those of y'all who got a little bit extra, I feel you. Good luck. You're not going to be married that long, but go ahead, man.
So super quick, I just want to add one thing when it comes to the generational wealth piece. When you talk about financial literacy, then technically they still can build generational wealth, although it's not in the joint account, right? I understand what you're saying and where you're going with this, but generational wealth can be built through life insurance policies. Generational wealth can be built through other means besides having joint bank accounts. So, but that's only if the people are financially literate enough, so i.e. having wills and trusts and so forth, and able to do so. So even if they're moving separately, that doesn't exclude them from generational wealth. And the reason why I say this is because one of the arguments that men tend to make is the reason why they don't have to marry their baby mamas is because they can technically still pass their wealth to their children if they have children through these other functions.
Well, hold on, Jay. Hold on. I'm sorry. I got to correct the record because, again, we talking, but we're not talking. Just because you have a life insurance policy, let's say it's decent. Good for you. Is your kids going to know how to spend that money? How quickly they're going to dissolve? That's not wealth, right? To me, in my humble opinion, it's a mindset,
True.
Right? It's how you build and how you move. So I'd be hard pressed to look at all of the super wealthy people that I've seen, the majority of them be married and not wonder like how was that beneficial to them to do that. And I get their finances could be separate, but all I'm saying is for most people who rose up and shit, it's not an individual sport. You get what I have just, maybe you'd have to point it out for me. So this idea that you can do it this way is only like a very small sliver. And then I would question the person who is that financially literate to not have made a better decision about their partner that they're choosing to merge their financially literate business life with, right? And then be like, you know what, because I don't trust this person, or because I don't think they're going to make enough money, or because of whatever reason, I'm going to keep my shit separate. I don't know where the poor person is doing that. If you're showing up rich, shut my mouth, right? But I just don't know how that works. I'm sorry, Jay. That's what I'm talking about.
Go ahead. I was going to respond, but I think you did that. I'll let you guys carry on before I say my piece.
Yeah, no, I mean, this gets back to, what you guys have kind of talked about too. Like, how do you really see the whole picture? If everybody was this hyper competent wealth manager, then okay, fine, this would be a non-issue. You be over at Wells Fargo, I'll be over here at Chase, and we'll figure it out in the middle some kind of way. But in most cases, like I said, you need each other. We need to see the entire picture, and few people, hell, most black people don't even have passports. So we know most black people don't have mutual funds and Bitcoin traders and hedge fund. You got these hedge funds. They're not doing all that. You guys need each other. And the fastest way to build wealth, like Nick said, is to work together. You guys might be pulling in the same direction. Guys may be on the same road, but you're not in the same car. And if anything, you know who probably had a separate account? John Gray. That's why she couldn't see him on OnlyFans and see his tricking account and his bed, all the motels he was booking because their finances are separate. As a matter of fact, you know what,
He
fellas?
wasn't booking motels. It was virtual.
No, he never got that far.
In the Metabuns.
Okay, he was the Metabuns. But you know what? Now you can get the annual subscription for OnlyFans, John Gray, because she can't see what you're doing. Matter of fact, guys, we're going to keep our accounts separate. That way you can Cash App and OnlyFans and do all the sketchy financial stuff. You can support your side chick in peace because your wife can't see what you're doing because the finances are separate. I think this is a win-win. This is, ladies, you outdid yourself. You guys are the real MVP.
First of all, this was a result of the 50-50 conversation that men kept pushing on women. I just want to point that out.
You know what? It's
yes,
not.
it is. That's
No,
what
it's
I'm
not.
saying.
No, it's not.
Okay, so look, let me pull it back. Let me pull it back. Now I want to go ahead and pull it back. So it was talking about the rise, right, because of the current climate we're in. But I just want to point out something really quickly. You guys keep talking about OnlyFans account, or he could do this, or he could do that because of whatever. But trust shouldn't be measured by the joint account. So if you trust somebody, then you should trust them to do the appropriate things with their money that don't go against the marriage itself. That's why I'm saying I think commitment is proven in actions, not bank statements. So you're talking about trust. I either have to trust you when you have your separate account or I don't. And if I don't trust you, then why the hell we married? Why are we together? And I also understand that you guys are saying, hey, if we can't have joint accounts or have everything joint, then we're already building separately. So I can concur with that statement, but the fundamental of this is trust. If I trust you, then move your ass on and do what you're going to do with your separate account. I'm just saying, if it's trust, trust is key.
Well, be clear. I'm not saying it's about trusting your account. I'm saying, fuck trusting you with the account. I'm trusting you with my finances. There's a different conversation that we're having here is what I'm saying, right? So I get where the account thing is nominal if we don't establish a trust financially. And that is including transparency. So whether the account is such a semantically, who cares? Right. But I said transparency because I think you need transparency to build trust. Like I don't see. So go ahead, Jay. I'm sorry. Like, what are we talking about? Bank account.
So what I'm saying is if it's all we're going to get this straightened right here because what I'm saying is if you trust somebody Financial trust and transparency is the same thing. It shows up because the conversation was about joint accounts. So I'm saying from that perspective, trust is trust regardless of where it's at. Be it financial transparency, you can have your own separate account and you can still be transparent. When you're talking about, hey, you can have your OnlyFans account and she wouldn't know, well, then you're not being transparent with your money. So I don't see what the problem is if you're trusting each other and you're transparent with that trust, i.e. financially transparent, then I don't see the problem with it. But I understand, like I said, commitment is proven in actions.
The separate account thing may look to some like it's a trust issue at first glance. And maybe because of people, and I'm not going to say the people who it looks like a trust issue to are untrustworthy. Okay. I'm just going to say, the first person that goes, I ain't do nothing. You got to look at them like, what'd you do? Well, I'm just saying, sometimes I'm that person. It does not always apply. But what I think is a deeper issue here is it's a question of accountability or a desire for there to be a lack of accountability. And it's that point, that origin of lack that causes further lack on in the relationship. So you got to remember money, and I'm speaking as a economist, okay, and as a former insurance salesperson, okay. So to the point of these separate policies and generational wealth, no, it's not the same thing. Because there's such a thing, it's called economies of scale. When two people pull their money together, they're able to get a much better insurance package than they could have if they had done it separately, right? They're just able to buy more bang for their buck. But even beyond that, let's talk about currency. Currency, money is stored energy, right? And that energy is a power to do things and move things in your future and make things happen, to materialize your dreams and make them real so you can live in the space you always wanted to live with the people you always wanted to live with, right? And so if two people can't seem to agree in one place where they can deposit their energy to forward their future, right? Then what they have here is a lack. Not only a lack of vision, of one vision, but a lack of unity, right? And a lack of accountability. Somebody don't want the other person to see how the money move. And even on the things that they said they want to move together. I'm not saying you can't have separate accounts, but I'm saying if you don't have a joint account, if it doesn't start and funnel through a joint account, and then everybody take their money from the joint account to their separate accounts, then what are you doing? What vision are you pulling for? Are you pulling for the same vision? Are you headed to the same place? Or y'all just happen to be rolling on the same road and just going side by side right now? Listen, you can do how you want to do it. I ain't here to tell nobody how to move their money, but I will say this. If couple has separate accounts, it's because on some level you are not on the same page. You are moving in accord, but you're still moving as two businesses that are operating in a coalition, right? A partnership, a collaboration, but you have yet to form one giant corporation. And that's going to affect your economy and your ability to move forward in the future with power. That's all I'm saying. So I personally wouldn't suggest it. I'd like to see a turnaround. You know what I'm saying? I understand. I've been in relationship. I've been in one of my marriages. I won't call out which wife. Okay. She was running our account into the negatives. It was terrible. I worked at the bank. It was embarrassing. Okay. But that being said, y'all just got to work on it, man. And if the person needs help, they're not good with money, they shouldn't be left out there in the world by themselves. It should be structured. You cannot build an enterprise if you are not enterprising with your energy. And you cannot build an empire if you don't have an enterprise. And that enterprise starts with your family. So if you're not doing that, you're doing it wrong. If y'all don't believe me, talk to me. Hit me in the DMs, hit me in the message. I don't care. I'm here for it. Go ahead. What y'all got?
Okay. Let me be clear. Right? Because an account like a bank is a tool, right? You can use them different ways. People have different accounts. They set up trusts. So the account thing is just one piece of it. I want to be clear. I don't care about the separate accounts thing. I think that's smart. I do think in relationships, couples should have their own accounts, right? So that way you have some level of freedom. If you want to use OnlyFans with whatever budget that we've allocated for this week, that's how you want to spend your money. That's your fucking business. You know what I'm saying? We're not tyrannical around here. You know what I mean? So, so I do think there's ways that you can set things up. However, when we're talking about from the top down, if two people consider themselves co-CEOs or partners, as the favorite word that people like to use in 2025, especially women when it comes to relationships, right? So part of a partnership, at least the ones that I've been a part of, is say, hey, let's look at our resources. What do we have to marshal? How can we move accordingly? The accounts are a minor thing. So I'm just simply positing that when I saw this story, and because I know people and I've interacted with people who move this way, there are other things that relationship suggests when that's their primary approach. It's not about having separate accounts. It's about whether or not that person says, hey, I'm going to do me over here. Then you're going to do you over here. And then maybe we come together and we chip in on our bills, not our life, but our bills. right? To me, that's not building life. That's not building generational wealth, because even for people who do build lives together, most of them, despite all the well-intentioned, do not build generational wealth, which is why so many of us are not generationally wealthy. We have a long way to go. There's many generations of steps that we probably need to get to a point where a lot of us, more of us, can be generationally wealthy. So I get it, health insurance, life insurance, and all that. But the truth is, we're barely getting by, y'all. So like, to me, if marriage is dying, and we're seeing trends that people are behaving in a way, even within a marriage, that suggests, like, okay. And then if we always say that generational wealth is happening more because of marriage, like, follow the trend. It doesn't take a logical person to really break down where this is going. So yes, this individualism, this whatever fuck thing we got going on, maybe the gender war is, taking effect. But yeah, this is going to kill. This individual ideology around money and marriages is going to kill many of you who didn't have a great chance at generational wealth. But guess what? What little bit you had, if anybody else is going to suggest to you otherwise, they're lying to you. I'm sorry. It's just saying, unless you're just Doogie Howser with the math, which again goes back to my previous point. Maybe you would have made a better choice with who you chose to marry. But okay, that's all I got. What are we talking about?
No, good point. It's really about being on the same page. But you know who's not on the same page? The YMs. We talk about the YNs, but the YMs, the young moms, and the grandmas of today. And the YMs are really upset that today's grandmas are not the grandmas of yesteryear, baking cookies, on the porch, shucking peas, and telling stories and making quilts. Today's grandmas are outside. They're at Sunday Fun Day. They're at brunch eating crab legs. They are going on girls' trips to Cabo and Tulum, and there's nobody to watch the YM's kids, and they're really upset about it, and they're making an issue of it. So, what do you guys think? Do the YMs, the young moms, have a point that the grandmas, who do not want to be called grandmas, by the way, they want to be called glam moms. They don't want to be called Meemaw, Mama, or Granny? They want to be called Grandma. Do the YMs have a point that today's grandmas need to go sit down and watch your grandkids? What say you?
No, they do not. They do not have a point. They do not have a point at all. As a matter of fact, they should be ashamed for raising the point. They're not ready, and they proved it. Listen, why are you having these kids that you don't want to be with, right? The problem is that YMs are having YNs, right? And they don't know how to say NO, right? But they want the YGs, right? Who are actually have turned the other way, looking toward the YDs. They try to get some YD, and they don't want none of that. And so now the YMs are saying WHY. And the reason why is because you didn't close your legs, ladies. Your timing was off. You didn't plan well. And these people, the reason they don't want to be called grannies or Grammys or whatever, everybody's got a little name, right? I knew a grandmama, I ain't gonna call her name. She wanted her grandmama name to be Cinnamon. I was like, that's a stripper name, but it's okay, whatever. Your choices are your choices. My point here is they're not ready. You can't force a person to be a grandma just because you weren't ready to be a parent. They don't owe you that, right? They made their choices. They gave birth to you. They raised you. Some may argue not well. I don't know. That's not for me to say. But what I am saying is your choices are your choices. And your family, they can choose to share that burden with you because that's what family does. But when you prove that you don't really care and you're just taking it for granted, please don't be surprised when they want to still have a life, because your continued bad choices shouldn't cancel out the fact that they chose to have you. So I know it seems harsh, ladies. And look, I love you. I really do. I love you enough to tell you the truth. Tell you the truth your mama's trying to tell you. And that is, it's time for you to sit down. You to sit down with your kids and think about your choices. Just have some time to sit and reflect with them. Sit on the couch where you made them. Sorry. But for real though, sit in that spot and reflect and think about how you want to move forward, and think about how moving the same way might not let you move forward. Maybe you need a timeout. Maybe that's God telling you it's time. And you sit there with them kids and come up with a way to take care of them and plan a business, because you cannot expect your bad choices to cancel out other people's right to live from the good choices they've made. They can do that of their own, but you don't have any right to that. I'm sorry. That's just how I feel.
So my first thought was, shit, send them kids to the goddamn grandfathers. Why the hell we gotta go to the grandmamas in the first place? We tired. I'm not a grandmama though, so let me not say we. They tired. And then I realized I couldn't even say send them kids to their grandfathers because in most cases he ain't around either. So why the hell she gotta be around? And then I realized something else. I said I may be a little bit too toxic because at the end of the day, it's not even about the grandmamas per se. It's about that young lady who had them babies and now wants somebody else to take care of her goddamn responsibilities. And it was like, you popped the kid out, you laid down, now go ahead and shoulder that. And then I realized something else. It's bigger than this. Because guess what? Grandma ain't just going on those trips. Grandma's also working longer because they got to, because of inflation, because of student loans, because of everything under the sun. So grandma actually got a job. So grandma can't already be around because she got a job. She is working. Then I thought about something else. Oh, snap. Could this be a broader issue with our society, like the lack of childcare in general, i.e. childcare costs, how high it's risen? Could it be the fact that there does seem legitimate conversation, especially in our community, pertaining to the family breakdown? Because where that YN at? Where he at? What kind of daddy did you pick? Because when you need a break, why the hell he ain't there to help you out? And if he is there to help you out, then why the hell you need a break? This is your responsibility. This is your responsibility. Grandmamas, yeah, they can come in and help raise the children and whatnot. But then I saw another study, and this study said that grandmothers are actually taking care of their children. So while you pop another child out, while you sitting in your mama's house, she already taking care of you. What more do you want from her? She raised you, and now you brought another generation into the household because it has been proven, according to this latest study, that because of the economy, more Gen Zs are staying and millennials are now staying with their parents. So now you bring your kids and you want her to watch them damn kids too? Like that one lady said, and that one dude said, fuck them kids. That's your job. That was a little bit more toxic than what I would like to be usually on this particular topic. However, at the end of the day, yesterday grandmothers didn't have all the student debt, didn't have inflation, didn't have rising retirement costs, and they carried the load already with you. They carried the load already. Let them heifers rest. They tired. They still working. And they tired. And they probably chasing some young D, like Jay said. And if they not, they still want some D too. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, so that was. You got stuck on the D part, huh? Pause. You got stuck on the D part.
I did, just a little bit.
I'm gonna leave that alone. Listen, you good, SNM? You good? You good?
Okay. As a matter of fact, that was the end of it because I said I'm going to get more toxic as I go on about this particular topic, while I still recognize that there are systemic things in place that actually hinders the support that's needed by society, from maternity leave to childcare costs and so forth.
Well, this is the danger of going last sometimes, right? Now I know how you guys feel for sure, right? Because I got to find a way to find something for me to talk about after you guys so astutely hit all of the broader points there. I remember about 30 some odd years ago, my mom was in the hospital having my little sister at the time. She was in a hospital rooming with another young lady. That young lady was 15 years old. And then I remember so we went to go visit my mom, and that young lady's mom was there. And coincidentally, her mom was 30. And quickly, I was always good with math. I realized that she was 15 and her mom had her when she was 15. And so her mom at 30 was a grandmother, right? And this is 30 some odd years ago. So, obviously the rate of which, we're having kids it's two different spectrums, right? I feel like in certain pockets, you're having that type of situation where kids are being, born in younger ages. But on the flip side, you also have statistics that talk about how certain demographics are having kids later, right, at the same time. So it's weird because, for example, me, just in full transparency, I have my kid in my 40s. There's a lot of people who are opting not to have kids. There are people who are often only have one kid. There are people who are opting to have them later. Right. And so if you can imagine, there's two trends happening at one time where you have one group that most likely, I'm going to be old I might not even be alive long enough to be a grandfather for real. Right. Whereas you also have the other group where at 35, you might be a grandfather. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot going on. You know what I'm saying? Ultimately, you guys are right. People make their choices. For me, part of the detriment of waiting as long as we did was that our parents have gotten older. So their ability to be grandparents in the way that we might have, that sweet spot where you can drop your kids off and stuff like that, right? That a lot of people take advantage of. We miss that entire window, right? Entirely, right? Whereas, so I get what y'all are saying, that these younger women who are in their 30s or 40s, yeah, they're still outside. You know what I'm saying? So, they got responsibilities. But to me, that speaks to like a larger problem that S&M talked about, but more so in terms of the rate that you're having kids, because that one demographic who tends to have kids that rapidly and that young, you can look at like education, for example, you can look at like socioeconomic precursors that kind of suggest that there's other reasons that lead to that level of, oh, by the time you have a kid so young, of course, glam mom is not going to want to be inside. But for people who are doing it still in that sweet spot, yeah, those grandmothers are still there. You know what I mean? Some of them still want to be with their grandkids. It's just that we look at the extremes, I think, and we think that kind of represents the whole. And I don't know that's the case necessarily, right? And so, yes, are there grandmothers? But here's the other thing too, like people are feeling younger. I feel like social media has made it seem like, because 50 from yesteryear doesn't feel like 50 today, maybe because we're closer to it. Like when you see people still outside, still looking good, still moving about, we're more tapped into culture or whatever, it feels like people are more vibrant. So therefore, maybe, yes, people are more engaged. But in truth, people still be at the crib. You know what I'm saying? So yes, the women who are turning their 30-year-old moms into grandmothers, right? Those women, the ones, even the 40-year-olds, right? Yeah. But I do think that the ones who are kind of doing it differently, they may not have the same expectation on grandma. Right. And I think that's where the real conversation is missing too, because what some of them are saying is not the ones who just, some of these grandmas are like, fuck your kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, which I get it, but that's different. You know what I'm saying? Like the fuck your kids, like I think that is endemic of how far we've shifted from even community, y'all. Like, how was it that Big Mama was like a pillar and now we've transitioned to Glam Mama, Big Mama, whatever? Like, what, like, you see where this is going? You know what I mean? Like, what version are that generation going to have of looking at a matriarch if she doesn't even want to be there? You know? Shit, some of y'all matriarchs don't even want to be matriarchs. You know? Like, y'all want to abdicate all kinds of responsibility that God and the church and patriarchy bestowed upon me, right? So, so you guys are right. I think this is a trend that once again probably speaks more to the breakdown of the type of fabric that I think we really need more of. And so I get it, y'all are outside, but listen, man, if you have a daughter who had a kid, like, you got to step up, ma. Sorry. You know what I'm saying? That's still your child. And I'm not saying you got to take on everything, but I'm sure most women who are in that situation do step up for their kids. And sometimes their kids aren't grateful, right? So we don't want to paint the picture that moms are out there not stepping up for their grandbabies. It just may not be to the way that some of these, irresponsible, fast ass, never mind. I'll stop right there. Go ahead, Joe.
No, I think you made a really good point. There's a lot of the two things are kind of happening at the same time, but the days of how I can drop the kids off at Big Mama's for the summer, nah, that's not happening anymore. Partially because Big Mama or Grandma, she's going to Miami with the girls for the week, or she's going to Essence. She's got stuff going on. And to S&M's point, she's still working. And to Jay's point, hey, Grandma's got a D appointment this weekend. I can't do it, baby. I'm sorry. She got to see a man about a horse. So there's a lot of different things going on, but community is important, and those grandkids are gonna treasure their time with their grandmother and they're never going to get it back. Some of my fondest memories growing up to this day are being in my grandmother's house and her just kind of let us have the run of the place and creating a lot of great memories that I was never be able to recreate.
I gotta push back, Delvin, because I gotta push back. You know what it is? Because I literally am thinking about. You said the whole summers with the grandparents.
Yeah,
it's because we've gotten closer to becoming grandparents' age, right? Like I literally have. Like I was thinking about my brother-in-law. Every summer, he takes his 4 grandkids on a whole summer excursion. Like, but they're not posting it on social media. They're not maybe as hip to doing all that. I don't know. I feel like I get it that like, yes, we see the brunches and we see the hot girls and we see all that. But the woman that would be that mom or that grandmom or whatever, is she really on socials like that? I mean, maybe a little bit more now, right? But by and large, I think the people who are showing up in that way, they're just not front and center. They're not sexy all the time unless they do something that catches. So I'm just saying, I don't think those days are over. I think, yes, there's probably more women who are kind of falling into the auntie, grandma, or whatever that whole wave. But I still do think there are women out here, a lot of them, who are going to be there for their kids. They're not trying to be outside like that. We just don't see them. Y'all disagree with that? Because I feel like
No.
nowadays we're painting a certain picture. And I just don't want to fully paint it like there aren't women out here who are going to be great grandmothers and want to spend time with their kids.
So actually, that's why I was going to come off mic and say as well was that I think that the negativity, as usual, is what gets the attention, right? The fact that these grandmas are outside, but even the grandmas, I know a couple of grandmas, even they still get their kids, their grandkids. What they're asking for is advance notice. They don't want the random drop off because you want to hit the club. They want the advance notice, like, oh, I'm going to have the kids this weekend. Cool, let's work and coordinate our schedule. And that's what we're seeing. So even the grandmoms are still doing their part as grandmothers. Even they're just asking for some consideration is what's occurring. The young lady who was speaking on that clip, like it was like, what are your responsibility in this when you decided to have this child, and why was the expectation automatically put on your mother that you can just randomly drop them off? Like, oh, I'm just going to drop the kids off, or why does she have to ask for the kids, right? And as a matter of fact, if she asks for the kids, that's even more proof that she's in that child's life. It's just not to the expectation that she want. Like it wasn't like, oh, let me get the kids for the summer, for the weekend, or whatever.
Oh, SNM, I got a question for you though. As you were talking, let me ask you this. If she grew up and she saw her mother do that, right? If she said, if you're asking, where did I get this expectation from? Bitch, you, right? I'm not saying you, but like, you know what I'm saying? Because if she was at grandmama's house, because a lot of us did do that, right? Like a lot of us did spend that time. So if grandmama was there for her in her time, then why would she not pay it forward? Is that wrong to have that kind of expectation just on that kind of a mindset? Or am I
Well,
off on that?
so I think that the fact that if her mother dropped off at her grandmother's house, then the expectation should exist. But my question is, usually, once again, that mother probably was given advance notice. Like she don't know what the relationship was before. This young lady sounded like she was just dropping off randomly and saying, "Well, why aren't you willing to watch my kids?" You
No,
know.
I get that because we wanted to draw the distinction between, right? But I think even like those grandmoms of yesteryear showed up for their kids, right? So if we're talking about setting the expectation, I get your point that, hey, the newer generation is putting up these boundaries. But I guess the heart of my question was, when you talk about entitlement or where a person may feel like they've seen a behavior or they have an expectation of a parent, to me, when you were talking, it made sense that if she saw that, if she spent time at grandmama's house while her mama was running out here fast and loose because she had her young. Because remember, some of this behavior does tend to be a little cyclical to a certain extent too,
Mhm.
right? And I guess at the heart of it, regardless of whether or not she's giving her notice, is she wrong to have that expectation when she saw her mom take? Because I'll say this, right, real quick. I feel like people who benefit from the grandparent thing, like you owe. I'm sorry. Like if you benefit from those dropping your kids off for the summer, if you benefit from all that, whatever, you got the benefit of that. That wasn't free. That wasn't nothing, right? So even if you don't pay it back to them, then maybe you pay it forward to your own child if it just so happens that you're put in that situation. Is that a wrong perspective to have?
I can understand how a person reached that perspective, but I think the person that reaches that perspective reaches it from the same reason a child reaches it, because they only got part of the story. They saw the times that Granny said, "Yes, I can fit this in my life. This works for what I have going on." They did not see the times that Granny was like, "Nah, baby, I got plans. I got pinochle on Tuesday. It's my pinochle night. No, you're going to have to do it another night." That's what I'm saying. And so I think that the entitlement still needs to be checked. I think we need to accept that people there's a spectrum. I can't say that every grandmom's out there being supportive, right? I can't say that every grandparent is like, "Oh, I'm so glad you had these, make more," right? I've seen spectrums. There are some grandparents that would only talk to their grandchild if the grandchild called them. And imagine how many years it has to take to happen, right? So it's really just about making sure you are, yes, like you all said, consistent with what you've expected from other people. But people check their entitlements because you only know what you think you've seen. And you got to hope that the people that you have partnered with are looking out for you, but understanding that they're going to do what they can. And, the meanest thing about the world is when you understand that nobody in the world owes anybody anything other than what they really, truly choose to give.
Hold on, listen, I'm not going to let you do that because y'all want to try to isolate it because that woman in that hospital who had that child at 15 did not do it the right way.
Okay.
She wasn't thoughtful about her mother's time when she was depending and leaning on her mom.
That's true.
Right? I'm trying to say, like, a lot of people get benefit from shit and don't feel like they owe anything. That's the point I'm trying to isolate for.
Okay.
If she as a mom, like, I get that the child shouldn't expect anything or whatever. But if we're talking about the fact that where is she seeing this behavior from? She's learning it from home. Right? If that's fair enough. So you're seeing this entitlement from home. So when my question was, if she saw her mother not be considerate, all those things, and her mom, because part of the argument between generations is that the other generation was more down, more salt of the earth, showed up more, was willing to deal with a lot of shit, whether we talk about relationships or whatever. So we can't pretend like there wasn't a little bit more staying power, more resilience, more care, more community, all of these things that once upon a time existed than it does today. Right? So if we know that, and a person, because the young lady who is maybe following a pattern, she didn't get that from nowhere, right? So my point is, if that mom, that glam mom who's want to be outside, I get it. She can be now. She can say no. But if she benefited, if she, you know what I'm saying? Like, does she not have no responsibility to pay it forward because somebody was there to help her ass? To me, and I'm asking that because I feel like that's the part of community to me that misses the most. A lot of people take, but their desire to give even a little bit, fuck the community. Like, how about your own fucking family? That same grandma who's out there getting her party on, guess what? Before she could be in that position, her grandmama was looking out for her when she was got there chasing some dick. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just talking about whether or not there should be some level of pay it forward, because you're not finna pay it back. If we're gonna be honest, a lot of times these motherfuckers take from grandma or whatever, and then when grandma need them, they ain't nowhere to be fucking found. You know what I'm saying? They got 2 pennies to run together to help pay for grandmama's funeral, but them motherfuckers bid the fucking most from them, right? And then you ask them to show up for somebody else and they can't, let alone their own fucking child. That's the shit I'm talking about. Is that don't exist? A lot of that don't exist in our community. Y'all think everybody out here paying their debts, paying the shit forward? Y'all think that's really happening? Y'all think these girls aren't seeing this behavior and they're perpetuating it because their mama was an entire piece of shit also, her fucking self? I'm sorry, man. Y'all be giving people too much goddamn credit out here. But you know what? Speaking of credits, it's almost time to roll the credits on this goddamn show. So that's right, y'all. Time for Final Thoughts. Dun, dun, dun. That's right. We can't afford special effects here. That's what the whole pew, 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 pew thing. You think if I had a soundboard, I'd be doing it with my mouth? Pause.
I don't know why we're like this.
Anywho, who wants to go first, man? Who wants to close us out? S&M ladies first?
I am so thoroughly tickled. So I'm going to keep this nice, short, and simple. I think the common thread that we saw tonight, amongst other things, was that for me, it seems like women are no longer willing to carry the weight. And if they are carrying the weight, they're looking for partnership. And for them, partnership means balance, right? And balance means responsibility on both sides. That means accountability and responsibility on both sides. And that's what, to me, it seems like this conversation was mostly about tonight.
Yes, ma'am. So succinct.
It's
you
a
did that,
cold
girl.
world.
All right, Jay, what you got?
It's a cold world, man. It's a cold world. Nobody can do it alone. So, you can be separate, but at some point, if you're going to build, you have to pull your enterprise, your things together. You got to work together. 2 is better than 1, right? That's all I'm saying. So, folks, we got to work together. We have to reestablish community, and we got to learn to trust somebody. Be accountable.
Yes, be accountable. That's always a good message, because over here, we're accountable as fuck. You heard what I'm saying? We're not being shady as fuck.
We have 2 jobs.
Yeah, not that it's a perfect segue to Delvin, because I don't think Delvin's shady at all, but Delvin, he is accountable.
He is
Delvin,
accountable.
any final words?
No, excellent thought. I saw the same thread. Listen, guys, we know separate but equal doesn't work. We're all we got. We got to work together, whether it's man and woman, grandma and YM. We got to work together because we're all we got. And that's all I have.
No, you know what? Thank you for that, Delvin. I forgot to mention that it came out that Brittany Renner was only getting like about $5,500 a month for child support, right? And we didn't get to it as a topic. I'm only bringing it up because we're talking about like financial literacy, I think, at some point in time in this conversation. And it was funny because she was mad, and we called it out at the time, right? She's like, oh my God, why is my kid only getting that? Well, because for a kid, that's what you get. She was mad that the wife, right, was getting those type of privileges. And that's the difference, y'all, sometimes. You know what I'm saying? In terms of how you go about approaching life. You know what I'm saying? You know, she was on the baby mama plan, and apparently they didn't pay as well. You know what I'm saying? But woo! That lifeline, girl, you know what I mean?
She wasn't able to upgrade.
You know what I mean? So I just wanted to, I was right because I think we all knew what it was, but damn, 5,500. Shit. Listen, make better choices with your vagina and your money. With that being said, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and all that good stuff. And of course, on the website and hopefully in your homes, we got the merch. So on behalf of SNM Jones, Just Jay, Delvin the Expert, I'm Nic Nice, aka Big Dick and Energy. We'll see you next time. Until then, be easy!
Peace.
And we're back, bringing you right back.
So quick, so fast.
Just when you thought y'all was gonna go home,
we were done.
And we were done. No.
Put that snack down.
Yeah, you know, because this right here is where we let our hair all the way down. Can we let our hair down, y'all? We let our hair down. You know what I'm saying? Fucking format, we're just gonna chill.
Took my wig off.
Yeah. All right, but I see that the lace front back on, Delvin. I see the lace front.
Yeah, put the lace front back on, man, you know.
So listen, y'all. So I mean, this one, so apparently Ace Hood was on somebody's show, as he is these days. Shout out to Ace Hood. And he was talking about how he'd been married for as long as he has. And this is a show, you know, we're married people on here, so it just made sense for us to talk about. And apparently he was like, yo, man, I've been married to this woman this whole time. I ain't cheated. You dig what I'm saying? And so many people was like, oh my God, that's so, you know, noteworthy. First and foremost, right? How amazing is that? He's a rapper, a popular rapper at one point in time, like being around all that ass. So I guess my question to you guys is, number one, do y'all believe in him? Just, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Can you be so hood and not be hoeing? But anyways, number two, if he's telling the truth, is it a big deal? And if so, why? And should he be upheld as the virtue, the paragon of black men don't cheat? What are y'all thoughts on Ace Hood not fucking other hoes while he's been married?
Oh, yeah. The silence is deafening because nobody really cares about Ace Hood and whether or not he's cheating. I think he buried the lead. That's what I think. I think this is a guy trying to other himself and say he's better than everybody else. This is like no different than Will Smith talking about how he had to cussing his raps to sell records or whatever. He's cussing now, I think. Anyway, my point here is Ace Hood is much ado about nothing, except unless he was really talking about what the real conversation is. Unless he's saying, hey, I didn't cheat. First, I will say I listened to the whole interview. Okay, he went on to say that he was trying to get his grown man on, and he felt like as a boy he cheated and he did his thing or whatever. But now that he was married, he was going to take marriage seriously, right? And so whenever he saw some ass in his face, he'd be like, "Yeah, that's beautiful, right? But I ain't gonna mess up what I got at home." First, hey, that's good, bruh. I'm not speaking against that, okay? I'm all for that. Yeah, you did what you're supposed to do. What you want, a cookie, right? Right? What you should have been telling these young men, right, while you're patting yourself on the back is, listen, black men, you need to negotiate the terms of your marriage better. That's what you need to do. You need to make sure she understands how you move, right, in spaces, because for some men, that ass shaking in your face, it is cheating, bruh. You already in trouble. You done did it. She want to talk to an attorney. She taking the kids to her mama house. So slow down there, sir. You're doing a disservice. Right? Tell these men they need to know. It's all about the negotiation. If you tell her how you move, right, and you get that stuff on the front end, then when you move, you're not cheating. Then you're not sneaking around and you're not doing whatever. You've created a space for yourself. So Ace, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed not because you haven't cheated, but because you haven't given people what they really need to know. And so I don't know, sir. I don't know. We're not giving you the cookie. I pass. Y'all go ahead.
Jay is not impressed. apparently nobody else is
I
either.
said, so I was gonna say, first of all, he is getting a cookie. He getting a cookie from his wife apparently all the time, which is why he's cool with not cheating.
Is he?
And as you stated I agree with the whole negotiation if that's the route he wanted to take. But I think that we should celebrate the fact that, and I say celebrate because you said that's what he's supposed to do, but there's so many people who don't do it. And so that's what you're supposed to do, but you got so many people who don't do it. Then why shouldn't he get the cookie? Oh, I forgot. He's still getting it from his wife. And so I think it's a matter of setting standards. And I think this should be actually celebrated. And when I say celebrated for doing the bare minimum or the basic, is because we have too many times where we uphold futures, we uphold Offset, in some cases, or how we shit on, or some people shit on Russell Wilson for doing the godly thing because that's what their religion calls it. And so I think that we should actually have examples like this more often in our community to say that, yes, men with access to lots of assets and options, guess what, can say no. That it's okay to be strong. It's okay to say, I have self-discipline. I am disciplined, and to have self-control and move accordingly. Now, if that was his nature, like Charleston White, as an example, he just recently came out and say he cheats all the time. But then I thought about it. Is it really cheating if his wife knows? And if that's what he negotiated because he said he got the money to spend to get the honey, then she knows. Then it's not cheating. So I just say, if you want to have open conversations, cool. But I'm still going to give this man props. I'm still going to give him kudos because I think we need more in this community. I think we need more discipline in our community. And I think we should stop normalizing cheating as the end goal, or that all men cheat and so forth. Go ahead and redefine it as negotiation with your wife. Have that conversation with your fiance, your girlfriend, or whatever. And let's get the cheating out, because cheating is nothing but betrayal on both sides.
I mean, if he he managed to avoid partaking when he had unlimited access and unlimited opportunity, and then he is a saint and we should celebrate him. Because let's be clear, a lot of men don't have the opportunity and don't have the access. So the whole cheating conversation, they're gonna have to get out of that chat room, right? That's not for them. If that is his situation, then that's awesome. But we can't verify any of this. Maybe 20% of me is with Jay, is like he may be trying to other himself. Like, hey, I didn't cheat on my wife, and I was on the yacht, and I was on the Luke bus, and look at me, and they were shaking my ass, and I said, "Ma'am, get away from me." Harlots be gone. Okay, and shout out to him, but he's the outlier, and we have to not pretend like he ain't the outlier, because most men, if you put them in that situation, they're going. They may not stick their whole hand in the cookie jar. They might stick their elbow in there, but he might stick around and catch a little whiff of the cookies a little bit. So if he resisted, shout out to him. He's a saint, and he should write a book and teach us all how to resist all of the video vixens and booty shaking BBL girls, because he is stronger than all of us, and we need to make sure we leave a better world for him. Shout out to him.
Yes. I have questions, right? Because I was trying to remember when he was popular as a rapper, right? Or like he was really hot, like Fish Grease for a second, right? With a couple of singles with DJ Khaled. Something tells me that around that time he was probably not married. So I can completely see like, hey, he had his fun. He could have been with his, well, I guess at that point in time could have been soon to be wife, but I think he can semantic himself into the truth, right? And say, hey, if he said, hey, when we got married, I've never cheated on my wife. Cool. But when she was my girlfriend, yeah, I did cheat on her. Right? That would make sense.
That's a big difference.
Right? That would make sense. And, I can imagine like how much at some point in time do you kind of get you're full. Like, you know what I mean? Like I get it. Yes, having a bunch of options can be hard for men in general. But I'll be honest with you. Like sometimes, you get to a point where it's like, okay, that's cool. And maybe you're not moved by that anymore. Maybe you're looking for different things to kind of really get you going. You know what I mean? So I do believe him. Let me start by saying that. I do believe that he's being honest, actually, when he says, hey, I've never cheated on my wife. I believe once he became married, he was like, hey, because I do think that is a good thing to promote to a certain extent. I do think young brothers need to hear it. Not that because it doesn't exist. It's because I feel like part of the reason why I decided to even do a podcast is because a lot of times the positive people who are living positive lives aren't out there saying, hey, these are the positive things that I do. And so the young people don't hear it. and then all they hear is a negative and the shit like that. So, okay, cool. I get, even if he is othering himself, I do get it does say something to maybe those 3 fans of his that still look up to him that he might be able to influence with this story, right? So I just want to say that.
The shade. I think my monitor is getting darker. I can't see it so much.
Now, what I also want to say too, before we get out of here, is that, this Overdrive segment, the what was it the disclaimer at the top of the show? It still applies. If not, it might doubly apply here, right? So anything I say during this segment, what I'm about to say, you know what I'm saying, counts as it's part of Overdrive. And let me say this. Sometimes cheating is needed, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all motherfuckers.
Don't be like that.
Let me settle in. Okay, here we go.
Oh, Jay's got comfortable.
Let me get comfortable.
No.
We're going to
I'm saying, like,
overdrive.
sometimes cheating for certain couples is a recalibration. It's like a canary in the mine coal, as they would say. Well, no, technically at this point, the mine is already fucked up. She would have missed the canary part a long time ago. But what I'm saying is, it's a chance to reset. Obviously, there are things maybe broken in the relationship, like trust, right? But sometimes because like, you know how like people need drama? Right? People need drama in their lives. Like nobody would watch it. We don't watch the news that gives us positive news. It's not because the news don't want to show it to us. We've shown we don't give a fuck about positive shit. We talked about it earlier in the show. We like negativity. So I do think sometimes cheating is like the character arc in some people's romantic stories. They need that to kind of like, you know what I mean? I'm not saying, what I'm saying is I think we got to look at cheating differently. You know what I'm saying? I think we have to recast the opportunity that cheating can be in strengthening a relationship is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? I get that y'all expect people to show up as their true, honest selves. But most psychiatrists or therapists, or even for being honest with ourselves, like we're not always honest with ourselves. But you know what is honest? Our actions. Right? I mean, yeah, we're trying to lie about it, but if you go out there and cheat, there's a reason why you did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think confronting that real reason gives a couple an opportunity to rebuild stronger relationships. You know what I mean? There's a study that says that people who survive cheating are 40% more likely to stay married than people who never cheated. I just mean that.
Okay. I love how you made sure that you pointed out that you just made that shit up. I love that. Because, Devin was with the heart immediately. He was like, yes, great study. Great study.
It could be true.
I'm all for making relationships stronger.
It could be true.
Yeah, that was the most important part. SNM, he didn't get a chance to fact check my stats.
Right.
But listen, I'm taking my cues from the president. Like this, the only thing that fucked me up was that I couldn't keep a straight face. You know what I'm saying? In 2025 and beyond, fuck what y'all talking about.
I'm just wondering why SNM doesn't want to make relationships stronger.
Look, first of all, we're not going to switch it that way. We're not going to switch it that way. What we will say, because you didn't know what I was going to say, I was actually going to say, okay, well, as long as it worked for both sides, I'm good with that then. If cheating makes the relationship stronger for men, then it should make the relationship stronger for women. And I want to tell you why. Because it's natural. If women are going to cheat, they're supposed to be cheating up. Because for a man with more money, for better genes, or less audacity.
See, this is...
I'm just saying, if we talk about cheating, then women should be cheating too then. Let everybody cheat. Let everybody cheat. Everybody
like
get
an IV.
on.
Cheating is like an IV.
All lives
you get
matter.
Dehydrated, you need an IV. You go cheat, you get your fluids back up, you're ready to be in a relationship again. Okay? The physiology between men and women is different. Okay?
Thank you.
So what revives a man, right, will not necessarily work in the physiology of a woman.
I disagree.
So, that's why it's IVs. It's intermittent vagina. There's no...
Wait, what you call it? Intermittent vagina.
That's a fact.
What?
Yes. Now, if a woman wants to get an IV, I really don't have a problem with it. It might not work the same way.
Hold on.
Shit, do what you got to do.
Intermittent vagina.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Why does it have to be about women? Why are we lowering women to have to cheat for? This is not about... What's good for the goose is not the... It's not the same thing. I hate this argument when you make it every single time.
Because it's a valid argument.
No, I'm going to tell you why, SM. It's not a valid argument, right? Because I'm not making the argument based off of gender, to be honest with you. I think it really just comes down to the cheating itself. You get what I'm saying? It really comes down to like the reasons or what led to the cheating itself, not just... So I hear what you're saying, but I don't think they're the same. oftentimes, because the dynamics in relationships are the same, we bemoan how women tend to be, I guess, more emotionally capable. They use that to their benefit. They can argue guys down. They can bully themselves. They can cry. They can use all these different things to emotionally one up men in a lot of cases, right? And if we're okay with that, cool. But guess what? Sometimes the balance of that may be people act out differently. You know what I'm saying? Like my child, for example, I'm not trying to compare things, but when he's hungry, when he sleeps, he acts out. People act out when they're deprived of certain things. Now, listen, I get it. Women can say, hey, this is the reason why I'm doing it, but I'm saying that's not the same thing is all I'm saying, right? And when the person has to decide on whether or not they're going to forgive the other person and try to make through or whatever, part of that is, why did you cheat? You know what I'm saying? And also, how did you cheat? And also, as we found out earlier in the show, with whom you cheated. You know what I'm saying? All of these things matter. And so to your point, okay, cool, a woman can cheat. I'm saying a lot of times, to your point, if women are dating up, they're cheating to leave the relationship. A lot of times, guys are not cheating to leave the relationship. They're not trying to step up. They're not trying to replace you
to make it better, make it stronger.
Honestly, they're also not trying to morally wound you either. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, I got this need over here. I'm going to go do this over here. So that's the same thing. But Ace Hood is not one of those guys, because he is not cheating on his wife. And we believe in Ace Hood. You know what I'm saying? We are, good black men who don't believe in cheating.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? All the time, or at least like on a public broadcast. Right? So,
and we're definitely not admitting it on the Dear Wifey podcast. Never.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, but no, Jay's right. You don't have to
negotiation.
Cheat. Listen, in truth, you shouldn't have to, but humans are going human, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Men and women marry people they're not attracted to for real, who they can't talk to for real, they don't like for real. So what the fuck do you think is going to happen?
To Nick's point, sometimes cheating is opening the renegotiations.
Yeah. Oh, you feel me?
I see what you did. Yes.
I see what you did there, Jay.
Mm-hmm. That was very clever, Jay.
Sometimes you got to break the contract to renegotiate the contract, is what Jay's saying.
Sound like a bunch of excuses to normalize weakness versus masculinity, but I got it.
It's strategic. It's playing chess, not checkers.
It's
I got it. You got to normalize excuses. You know what I'm saying? I got it. I hear you.
Speaking of having it, do we have anything else that we want to promote before we get up out of here? Anyone?
I'm
you
just
say promote or provoke?
Well, I was just saying, you said provoke. I got one thing that's going to cause a provoke. You know what I'm saying?
I meant promote. If I said provoke, I meant promote.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and provoke something then. So if cheating is so natural in its nature and it's all about renegotiation, then just recognize that revenge is also. That's all I'm going to say.
I thought you were going to promote a book or something. All right, thanks
No,
for
you
using your
said
time to say
promote.
that.
She promoted
revenge.
She's promoting revenge.
Okay, you know what, SNM? I got you. You know what? S&M just started a new segment.
Just recognizes revenge is just as natural as cheating then.
Okay, I'm fine. That's
all
fine.
I'm saying. Just recognize revenge is.
Okay, thank you, S&M. So, Jay, do you have something provocative to leave us with? How about we do it that way, right? Fuck promote, we're going to go with provoke.
Yeah.
Anything provocative you want to say to the audience before we get them out of here?
Yes. If you're really bad at picking a man and you're having babies with men that don't stick around and want to help you raise the kids, that's your fault. It's not the fault of your parents. They chose as well or better, but whatever they chose, they've gotten past that. It's your turn. Make better choices. It doesn't matter if you saw someone else slam their head into a wall. It's a wall. It's your head. Come on.
Yeah. Okay. Jay's provoking. Okay. We'll let the audience decide who's the most provocative, right? You got anything?
Listen.
It's all on the fly, by the way, but go ahead, Jay, right?
Yeah, listen, I'm all for the grandmas being outside with the crab legs and go and get their legs cracked. It's all good. It's their time. UIMs, you got to go sit this one out for about 10 or 15 years. It's the 40-somethings. We're doing our thing now. Don't hold us back. It's really petty of you. We weren't in the room in private when you were getting cracked by the Y ends with the Gucci belt. Now you want to make it all our problems. We're not doing that. I'm taking your mama to Miami, and that's all it's going to be.
Yes. And I'll just simply say this. If more women took responsibility for the part they played in their man cheating on them, more relationships would last. With that being said, don't forget, we got the Glow Up Girls trip. Since I want to promote something there, fuck y'all. Don't forget, although I don't know if I should promote this after that, but fuck it, we'll clip it up. We got the Glow Up Girls trip. This Martin Luther King weekend, 2026, tap in. glowupmde.com. Use the code BLC Pod for $100. That's right. $100. That's right. Use the code BLC Pod to get that money off. Listen, I'm still improving my Spanish. All right. Anybody else want to promote anything before we get the fuck up out of here? And scene. All right, you guys. We'll see y'all next time. Be easy.
Peace.
We out.